This edition of CropLife Retail Week is brought to you by the inaugural Tech Hub Live Conference and Expo, July 19th through the 21st at the Iowa Event Center in Des Moines. Early bird registration now available at techhublive.com. Hello again, welcome to another edition of CropLife Retail Week. Paul Schrimpf joined by Eric Sfiligoj. Hello, sir, how are you?
I'm doing good, sir, and you? How are you?
How am I? I'm back home again after I've had a couple of days in the office the last couple of weeks. It's starting to feel like I want to get back a little bit, and hopefully we can get some of the crew together and maybe actually see each other a little bit. I don't know.
Well, it'll be interesting. I know one of the reasons you were in the office recently, I think, is because for what seems like the umpteenth time, you had your daughter's car in for service because she got a nail in the tire. So I think I teased you about, is she visiting construction sites just for fun or what? But
Yeah, it's been a great little car. It was a Craigslist car we bought in Nashville with her, and it's going on 4 years. It was quite the bargain, but for whatever reason she finds nails like crazy. This is the second plug in this tire, and she's had probably 4 or 5 flats since she got back from Nashville a year and a half ago. So it's just I don't know. Some people are unlucky. I think my Toyota I've had for 14 years have never had a flat. So you just never know.
You know you've just jinxed yourself, and next week when you're in the office from our video, it'll because you have a screw or tire nail embedded into your car tire. So
yeah, you never know. So there you go. But it's been a busy week. I think we've had quite a few news items pop up. Do you want to start us off, sir?
Well, actually, Paul, I think we maybe teased this last week. I can't remember or not, but you actually got to take a road trip just after we recorded last week's video. I mean, I think that's the first road trip either of us has taken in like 15 months. So maybe you'd like to share some details on that since it was just held recently. So.
Yeah, and fortunately the weather held off for us. We had some rain in the afternoon, but the morning was pretty nice. Was down at Ohio State at the Molly Caron Center to see a demonstration of Taranis technology being employed on an experiment by Integrated Ag and my friend David Scheider, who's a independent consulting firm here in Ohio, very well-respected firm. And the folks at Ohio State are working on some test plots utilizing the Taranis technology, really trying to get to that place where you can do in-season, on-the-go kinds of decision-making related to crop protection, related to fertility, related to just the plant health in general. And the thing we saw there was the ability of the Taranis unit to do stand count. So we would talking about soybeans, they had 2 little leaves popping out of the ground, just barely visible, and the drone was able to pick it up and actually see these things, and they showed me the images afterwards, and it was pretty clear. It was able to identify these things. So getting clear stand counts, it's kind of a holy grail when it comes to imagery and technology and drones, and certainly this was really proved the concept out very well. Taranis continues to try to amp up what they're offering to provide those kind of decision-making tools because we can't afford to have people in doing the kinds of, nor are the people available to do the kinds of scouting that it really takes to do that intensive decision-making level kind of scouting. So this was hoping this takes the pressure off in terms of the number of people you need in the field. The kinds of decisions you can make, the frequency, and the quickness with which you can make those decisions. So pretty exciting technology. You're still a little ways off in terms of being able to employ this stuff, but it's certainly showing that it's working really well.
Well, here's the big question I'm sure in everyone's mind, Paul, besides, of course, what Taranis is offering to the market, but how well attended was this event?
Well, this was an audience of one, so it was just me. I had the Taranis folks and Ohio State folks at my disposal to talk about that, as long as Dave and some of his team So it was great. I was it was just so nice to be able to actually pat some people on the back and talk and engage in a conversation one-on-one in person and not have glitchy Zoom nightmares and things like that. So I'm fully ready to get more back on the trail. But that was a great first step.
No, good. Yeah, I know myself. I keep getting invites to events taking place here in May and June, and unfortunately, most of the invites are coming into me kind of last minute, and they're places like Las Vegas or New Mexico where these events are being held. So, not quite ready to make those treks just yet. But speaking of shows, Paul, and this probably won't be an audience one, I trust, when it actually takes place. I know that, like I said about a video or two ago, it seems like a lot of the trade shows that folks are used to attending are planning for the upcoming trade shows without any delays or any anticipation that they won't be held virtually here in 2021 or 2022. Got a note this week that our friends at the Commodity Classic, that show's going to be held in late February or early March in 2022 down in New Orleans, that they are opening registration for reserving trade show booth space on Monday, May 10th. So maybe depending on when you're watching this video out there, viewers, the booth space reservations will be open for Commodity Classic next year. And they're saying that already the response, even before they've formally opened the trade show floor to folks interested, that they're almost sold out of booth space, Paul. So again, even if there may not be any events in 2021, which I expect there will be, it certainly sounds like the Commodity Classic folks are planning for their event to go forward in person with all attendees present come next February or March.
Well, that's great to hear. I think one of the bellwether events, the Agritechnica event, the technology event that's in Hanover, Germany, when they moved their event back from November to the first quarter of 22, that kind of became that marker as to when the larger companies like the Deeres and the Cases and the Syngenas and the BASFs, all those the larger organizations were going to be freeing up their resources and their and travel restrictions to get to places. So that once that moved, I think that kind of freed people up to say, okay, this seems to be the marker from which we can build from. So that's awesome, and it's great to hear that they're getting that support because it's the thing you announce this and then you kind of wait and see what people do and what people are doing is booking exhibits. So that's great. It's great to see us getting back to some normalcy here, hopefully in a not too distant future.
Yeah, well, and speaking of normal, as I've teased on many a video, the normalcy now is going to be talking about some merger, consolidation, acquisition going on in the agricultural marketplace. And I have another one for this week. Was reading this morning that Mitsui and Company, which has a branch in agriculture called Mitsui Agriscience, is in the process of acquiring Belchim, crop protection company out of Belgium. They have already purchased a good portion of the company, and now they've purchased 30% shares of Belchim and are going to actually have the ownership management control of the company going forward here in May. And then they're hoping to acquire the remaining shares of Belchim by the end of the second quarter. So by the end of June, it looks like Mitsui will completely own Belchim. So again, I know some people may have thought the crop protection mergers that we saw back in 16 and 17 were done, but apparently they're still taking place overseas in Europe. So,
yep, everybody trying to reach that magic scale and mix of products and everything else. It's going to keep going, you would think.
Yep.
But speaking of consolidation, just something else to throw out here. Noted that I know Valmont and Prospera. Valmont, obviously the Valley Irrigation, big irrigation company, and Prospera, which has kind of been building IA sorts of technologies that actually go onto the pivots and use the pivots as kind of a center point for information being exchanged about collected and exchanged about the field. Valmont had made an initial investment and now have acquired all of Prospera. So it's really interesting for irrigated acres. I think Prospera had the right approach. I mean, when we had them at the Vision Conference a couple of years ago, we talked a lot about using that irrigation pivot because it's not moving. You can use that as a place to really collect a lot of information about the field and help to develop those again those in-season decisions, that in-season decision making that everybody's kind of emphasizing right now. So Valmont going ahead and acquiring all of Prospera, I think is a really great move, and we should see some interesting technology coming from that for certainly for the irrigated acres out west and elsewhere. So. Congratulations to them. I know Danny Koppel, talked to him on a number of occasions. Again, we've had him speak from Prospera. Very ambitious, really, I think had a good business plan coming into the market. And now the company's been acquired, and hopefully we'll see more good things coming out of Valmont in terms of decision-making tools for those irrigated pivot-focused acres.
Yeah, I just think I definitely detect a trend as we're going through the year. I mean, we're here in May already, 4 months in, a little more than 4 months in, and as I teased, I think every video we pretty much have some merger consolidation news to share with our audience. So I suspect that'll probably continue through the balance here of 2021. So,
okay, you got anything else, sir?
Yeah, one other thing, Aurora Cooperative, which is a member of the CropLife 100, I think they're in the top 20, if I remember correctly, over $100 million in sales as a company. They've named a new president CEO, effective immediately. The gentleman's name is Chris Decker. He replaces Chris Vincent, who is asked to take a personal leave of absence. So Mr. Decker has been with Aurora since 2003, so we'd like to welcome him aboard and be sure, Mr. Decker, to be watching for some emails from me and from CropLife talking about CropLife 100 information here in the next few months as we get ready to put together our 2021 report, which will be in the December issue of our magazine.
One more thing, just wanted to mention. I had a conversation with the gentleman I talked to through his Indigo time, Matt Garber. He recently switched and joined a company called Augmenta, and it's technology that was developed in Greece by a couple of gentlemen trying to use imagery to, I think what a lot of folks have been trying to do is use imagery to make on-the-go decisions about fertility. So essentially, they developed a unit that goes onto a machine that can determine plant health, and then you can make variable rate nitrogen applications based on this, based on this machine. My understanding is it's also employable for things like defoliants and PGRs and cotton. It's gotten a lot of interest for that down there and making decisions on the go with this machine. The case New Holland is a significant investor in it. It's been international for a while, and now it's coming to the U.S. and they found some folks to kind of test it out, and they're ramping up production. But just something to keep an eye out for. If you see anything on Augmenta, take a look at it, keep an eye on it. It could be something that's coming to a machine near you, maybe 2022, or you may hear about it sooner from a representative. I don't know, but look into it, and now you know.
I was going to say, as in-person events come back, Paul, I suspect maybe representatives for Augmenta will either be exhibiting or certainly maybe be in attendance at events like, hint, hint, the Tech Hub Live event coming up in end of July. Keep an eye out for those folks. If you see Augmenta on the name badge, go talk to those folks if you're interested on what Paul just gave you some clues about what's going to be happening from them. So.
Yeah, I can't. We shouldn't say 21 because I have a feeling it's a little soon. But it's certainly that technology. I think maybe next year we'll see a more wider effort to get that name out there. But just seem to keep an eye on be in the early curve for that.
Okay. Well, also one other thing to add, Paul, before we go. I know it's a very long video so far, but. Our compadre Dave Ferbata, who is the editor of Agribusiness Global magazine, held a webinar back on April 29th with a couple of folks, one representative being from Indigo, you mentioned, and Syngenta and Corteva were also present. A few other folks talking about carbon credits and regenerative agriculture. So again, that was a live event held on April 29th, but we do have it up online, I believe. So if you were interested in an hour's discussion regarding that topic from some of the key folks in the agricultural industry that are involved in it, check it out for yourself and see what you think, and just drop us a line and let us know your opinions on what was said and if it was agreeable or not. So,
Yep, it certainly got excellent reviews from the market, so we definitely recommend that. Dave did a nice job. And I think that's it for this edition of CropLife Retail Week. We certainly appreciate you joining us, and we will see you next week.
If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below.
Your feedback is important to us. We'll try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode.
And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.